The next wave of business leaders won't just use AI, they'll master momentum with it, starting now. Welcome to the Mastering AI Momentum Show, where visionary founders and driven business leaders turn artificial intelligence, automation, and scalable systems into real growth, real scale, and real freedom. If you're ready to break bottlenecks, reclaim your title, and scale smarter, this is your playbook. Let's dive in. Here are your hosts, Allie Porter and Elise Smith.
Welcome, everyone, to the Mastering AI Momentum Show, where we explore how visionaries are using AI to turn creativity into strategy and strategy into momentum. My name is Elise Smith, your AI business strategist with Millionaire Momentum AI Agency, where we help founders and marketing leaders scale smarter by combining human connection with AI-powered systems that grow their impact and their income. And today's guest knows exactly what it means to reinvent yourself and your business through innovation and adaptability. I'm joined by the amazing Jason Hunt, the co-founder of Merged Media, creator of Chatelo.ai, and Fractional CMO behind some of the most creative and conversion-driven marketing strategies in the industry. Jason has helped brands like Kokomo Resort increase their room rates by 25% in a single year. Hosts the Drop the Mic marketing podcast, teaches at George Brown College, and somehow still finds time to stay ahead of the AI curve. But before all that, Jason was a frontman in a Japanese rock band. Now we've got to learn more about that. His journey from stage to strategy is proof that creativity, when paired with systems and AI, can scale into serious success. So Jason, welcome to the show.
Elise, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Okay, let's hear it about this Japanese rock band, man. How did you get to transition from that all the way over to marketing?
Yeah, definitely. So when I finished university, I wasn't quite ready to settle down yet. So I was looking at opportunities where I can kind of travel the world, explore before I decided to settle down. And naturally, Japan was kind of topping the list in terms of places I can go after getting a university degree, because it was an easy country to get into and teach English. So I taught English as a second language. And through that experience, I met some students and started a band, funk rock band. Got to create a couple albums when I was there, did a small tour of Japan, and ended up turning what I thought was going to be 1 year into 4 years living in Japan. So super fun. But I realized through that experience, I did have my epiphany in Japan. I was surprised because I get a lot of people listening to our music, a lot of fans, but I was not a good singer. I was actually a horrible singer. And I realized through that experience, I'm like, people are coming to watch me like just scream into a mic and have a lot of energy on stage. But what it was behind the scenes was doing the marketing. And that was kind of my calling. It's like, I'm a really good marketer. I'm not a good singer. I'm a good marketer. So that whole experience drove me down this rabbit hole of getting into marketing. So fast forward to 2016, and I started my own agency, social media agency. And back in 2015, 2016, social media organic was cutting edge at the time. I'd walk into businesses and they'd be like, "Oh, I've never tried that before. Let's throw some money at social media organic." And literally I would walk door to door into places with a camera around my neck. And I was not a photographer, but I would say, "Hey, I'll get your social media content today. Just sign this line for $199 a month." Those days are over. Now, if I go into a place asking about social media, I'm probably the 40th person that's walked in on a given day, so it's become a saturated market. So in 2019, I merged my social media agency with an SEO company and to form what's called Merged Media.
Wow, how cool. I love that. Okay, what is the name of your band? Because we got to look you up now.
Oh, man, I don't know. Oh, you're going to might have to dig for it. We're called the KJs.
The KJs.
Out of Osaka, Japan. Yeah, good luck trying to find some content from it, though.
Well,
Let me know if you do. Tag me if you find it.
Yeah, there you go. What a neat story, though, because I love how it shifted for you, like how you realized that it wasn't necessarily the music, it was the marketing behind the music, and that's what helped you guys to grow. So I love that. That's super, such a fun story, but it also really leads to where you're at right now.
100%.
And obviously, you're very innovative. Of like you stay on the cutting edge. So tell us more about what you're doing with Merged Media.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, with Merge Media now, it's really about, just going back to that whole story of being a rock star in Japan and marketing my band, and that excitement of getting a new pair of ears to listen to my music was really was a dopamine hit for me. But nowadays, it's more like making business leaders and entrepreneurs rock stars in their own industries, right?
Mhm.
And making them rock stars amongst their customers. And that's kind of a big focal point for Merge Media is being that trusted source, or presenting our clients as a trusted source, whether it's a top of a Google search, whether it's retargeting them with meta ads that resonate. One of the big things, and we'll get into this in a bit in terms of AI, is building ICPs, ideal customer profiles for our clients, leveraging AI. Prior to using the likes of ChatGPT and Claude, however you want to pronounce it, we used to sit around for hours trying to come up with personas and avatars and trying to create messaging that resonate with 60-year-old yogis. I don't understand the mindset of a 60-year-old yogi because I'm not one, but AI can sure as heck get me there a lot quicker.
Thank goodness for that. I mean, I think that's one of the best parts about AI is the research, the amount of time that it saves you on research, because you can't have in your brain all of the things that Chat GPT or Claude or, these large language models actually have and are trained on. So that is so cool. So tell me, like, who do you serve and how do you serve them? Like, if somebody's watching this and they really are like, man, I know that I need marketing, how would they know that?
Yeah, it's a great question because a lot of people don't know, right? In a lot of cases, you got the entrepreneur wearing so many hats. They're doing the operation hat, wearing the marketing hat, and they're not really diving into marketing into the depth that it deserves, right? Because they're only touching on it, or they tried a little bit of Facebook ads here. They boosted a couple posts, and oh, it didn't work, and now Facebook doesn't work. Well, or SEO. They paid a company, overseas, $300 a month to do SEO. Well, what are they doing with that $300? You can't really do a whole lot. So, for us, I mean, because we merged companies, we acquired another social media agency back in 2022. We acquired a web design company and a Google Ads company. So we kind of encompass all of those services in-house. So we're not outsourcing things to other areas. And that's by design, right? Because anytime you have an agency that outsources a lot of things, it creates a lot of broken telephone,
Mm.
So we like to kind of have all of that knowledge and for our client in-house. And it all stems from systems that we put in place using AI to have that sort of central knowledge base of the client to know how to deploy a proper SEO program, proper meta ads retargeting campaign, proper Google Ads PMAX campaign. It allows us to do that by the structure that we've set up. So a client for us is somebody that's looking to kind of outsource all of the marketing to an agency to fulfill. So the ICP for us could be an entrepreneur, could be a small business owner, or could be a marketing manager that wants somebody to actually execute on the ideas that they have.
That's smart. I haven't really heard about that before, but it totally makes sense. So definitely check out merged.ca if you're interested in what he's talking about here. But let's kind of go more into your scaling story of how you were able to grow your business. What were some of those pitfalls that you experienced early on, especially because it sounds like you were kind of homegrown taught, right? What were some of those pitfalls and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the journey for entrepreneurship is never ending. You're always learning new things, and it's one of the things I always say to my kids as well. It's like make the mistake once, don't make it twice, and that's something that I've always tried to learn. Is like, okay, we learned from that experience, and let's not make that mistake again. And one of the big things for me was partnering with the right person. And my business partner was the CEO of the SEO company I merged my company with, and is the best business partner I could have ever asked for. He complements every one of my weaknesses. So I travel the world. I speak at conferences. I do podcasts like this. I'm the CMO of the business. And my business partner hates that stuff. He doesn't want to be caught dead in public. He just wants to sit behind his computer screen and do his SEO stuff and do his technical stuff. And the entire operation he's running, which is why he's the CEO. But it's a perfect partnership because he offsets everything I don't want to do, and I do the same
Mm.
for him. So we've had business partners in the past where it didn't work out. Maybe they were too similar to me or too similar to my business partner, Todd, and it just never worked out. And I think that's one of the big things is it's very easy to get excited about a new project or a new business partner, but more times than not, we've seen it 9 times out of 10 times. It's not a good business partnership. So sometimes people just really need to analyze the partnership that they're getting into before they sign that dotted line.
And it is interesting because I have had different partners in my business as well. I came from business coaching and then moved into AI. And it is fascinating that you're drawn to people who are like you, but those don't always make the greatest business partnerships because you need the yin and the yang. You need kind of somebody who can balance you out. So I love that you bring that up. And so when it comes to people, because I think that businesses are really scaled upon like people, process, and technology. Right? So what other kind of tips would you give someone when it comes to hiring or building out your team?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, especially nowadays, because, with AI can do a lot of heavy lifting for you in certain cases, right? I think, in my opinion, I think the roles and responsibilities of the VA are what's at stake here, really. I mean, because a lot of those tasks that are mundane tasks are being taken up by AI. Now, the key here to your question, I think, is finding people that can very much embrace AI and leverage AI to do their job better. So a great example of this is where this didn't work out for an employee of ours. We had an employee, she was an account manager, and we encouraged every single one of our employees since we started adopting ChatGPT years ago. It's like, embrace AI to help make your job better. We're not going to fire anybody and replace them with AI. That's not our plan.
Yep.
But if you don't embrace AI, you're going to find yourself out of a job very quickly. So this particular employee was grabbing information verbatim from our Claude projects about their business. It could be reporting, competitor analysis. All this information was being sent, boom, from the AI to the client. Well, what happens when you go on a client call and they ask you, can you tell me a little bit more about that Google ad strategy you had in that email? She put herself out of a job because essentially she did exactly what we didn't want people to do, and that's take the human element out of using the AI. Yeah. And I think that's something that people need to keep in mind. It's like, yes, AI can do some heavy lifting, but don't let AI do everything for you, because that whole experience of having that account manager translate that AI on what really mattered to the client to build that relationship and connection and trust is the most important thing that you can do as a human being.
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah. And that's why you hire people. And it's so cool thinking about, where we're at in the world today, where you do need to think about, if you're going to hire someone, how willing are they to use AI? Because if they're not, then they're missing out, and you're missing out on a more efficient and effective employee. And so that's like, now I'm seeing that that's going to be one of the interview questions that a lot of people are now going to have. And also using it responsibly too. I completely agree with you when it comes to that balance between HI, human intelligence, and AI, artificial intelligence. And it's the two that combine that make it so powerful. So how do you make sure that your team and you are using it responsibly?
Yeah, another great question, because I know a lot of businesses out there are not using it responsibly. They're not. They did, using, whether it's grabbing content from AI, putting it into their blog, only to see that Google penalizes it for whatever reason. This happened, when we started using ChatGPT. We had a test site where we were testing out blog content from AI. This is before the AI detection was really a thing, right? And, we saw some of our sites got a huge bump, month 1, month 2, but then these are our own sites, not client sites. It's important to test on our own sites. We saw a huge decrease, and it was because of the AI content that was being used on the blogs. So, that kind of thing is going to happen. So for our employees, how to use it responsibly? Well, I think it has a lot to do with the systems you have in place and what kind of frame you put AI in their everyday workflow. To allow them to use AI for the things that AI needs to be used for. Sales, for example, right? We do some AI automation using N8N and using that. So for example, if we get an inbound lead, because we're an SEO company, we get a lot of inbound leads from Google searches. A lead could come in at 7:00 in the morning, and our sales guy, Dave, is not going to get to that for hours. But what is going to happen is that lead's going to come into our system. They're going to get a voice message that goes directly to their voicemail. The phone's not going to ring. And it says, hey, this is Dave. Thanks for reaching out. I'm going to have a look at your website and I'll get back to you shortly. SMS message will say the same thing about 2 minutes later. And then about 20 minutes later, that lead is going to get a full-on SEO audit in their inbox, doing competitor analysis, seeing how their site ranks, and that's all done through the AI. And by the time Dave goes into his office, has his coffee, he's now calling that client up and has a piece of content or has an entire audit to talk about with that client. So that does a lot of heavy lifting, because now Dave doesn't have to go there searching and doing this SEO audit himself for an hour. He can spend more time building relationships with people, going out to conferences, calling people on the phone, having Zoom calls, and do all that type of stuff that AI can't replace.
That is the perfect example of, the speed to lead kind of concept that we want to make sure that we are thinking about, and that a human maybe doesn't have time to do, but that's exactly what AI is here to help us with. So I love how you guys are using it as the tool that it's meant to be used for, to not replace people. I mean, we completely agree with that as well, and to enhance people and help them to do better with their clients and their job and everything. So that, it just gets me so excited. So do you have an in-house team that like builds out all your AI agents and all of that, or what does that look like for you?
Yeah. So for us, I mean, we use certain AI agents. I know there's like, there's a thing with AI now is where there is a stat where if you look from 2024 to 2025, the amount of small business owners using AI is surprisingly decreased. So in 2024, you had a lot of business owners were like, oh, this is cool. Let's try this one. Let's try this one. Let's try this one. Only to be like, it's almost like the AI, it's almost like people become, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like people are just seeing that they're spending too much time on it, right? It's the time sink paradox, where it's like, I'm spending too much time trying to learn on these tools where it's not actually getting me ahead or making me more efficient. So knowing that and seeing that, because we did this a lot in the first year of really adopting a lot of these AI tools, that we really narrowed it down. So for us, our focal point right now is N8N. Go high level is huge for us too. It's a CRM we use for our clients, and doing a lot of those AI automations is important within those systems. But we also came out with our own tool called Chatelo.ai. This is an AI agent. It's an AI web chat agent that lives on our client websites, and we give it to our clients for free. And the reason for that is it helps keep users on websites for longer. So why is that important? Well, A, they're engaging with the AI chatbot, but the time on site is increasing. That time on site is a direct signal to Google that you have a good website and it's a good user experience. So they'll prioritize it in the SERP. So that is it's almost like a win-win, right? We give our clients an opportunity to manufacture more leads and more sales and educate the clientele, but on the same time, we're also keeping people on the site for longer, which is great for SEO.
Oh, genius. Love it. Love it. And you're talking my language too, because, here at Millionaire Momentum AI Agency, we don't focus on, tools. We focus on building out specific AI agents to be able to empower your employees or you even more. And I think that that's a huge difference. There's generative AI, which is like ChatGPT and Claude and those LLMs, where you give it a prompt and it spits something out. And that's awesome, but it can only be taken so far. We love agentic AI, where you can really have it do a task. So what is like the funnest kind of AI agent, or, something that you've done that you just love with AI? What's been your funnest way to use it?
So I use a lot of, we do a lot of meta advertising at my core. That's my backbone. I do a lot of speaking on meta advertising. So with AI now, we can create a lot of cool creatives using some of these tools, like Hedra for uploading an image and having it talk, to 11 Labs to creating a unique voice for it. So combining these two tools, I created so many variations for a very specific campaign. I have a campaign where I'm promoting a downloadable PDF, very simple campaign, but this is a lead magnet that I use to collect emails. And the lead magnet is called the AI brand interview. It's 30 questions that you should ask yourself to bake into your AI, so it has that, so you can personalize your AI, so it has that knowledge of how you speak and talk. Okay. Besides that, so that's the downloadable lead magnet. Now, to get people to download the lead magnet, you have to have an advertisement that's very enticing, that people are going to see it and be like, oh, I want that. And using AI and AI voice, I can resurrect old people from the dead, people from the past, Muhammad Ali, Babe Ruth, Maurice the Rocket Richard. These athletes I recreated and have them help me promote my lead magnet. Essentially, using AI, you can have anybody in human history become your brand ambassador, which is pretty cool. And these ads work really, really well at getting people to convert. So that was a pretty fun project I'm still working on, and it's continuing to crush it.
It reminds me, my husband was showing me a video the other day of Johnny Cash singing "I'm a Barbie Girl." And I'm like, that's crazy what you can do with AI this day and age.
I'm seeing like Tupac Shakur is cheering on the Blue Jays, in the World Series. It's like Tupac's a Blue Jays fan, really?
Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, there's some fun things. And I think the thing is that why not hire a company like Jason's to be able to do this stuff for you instead of having to spend hours and hours trying to learn the tools and trying to figure it out yourself? Because that's the thing, is like, we don't have to do that. You don't have to become an expert at AI when there are people like, Jason and I, who can help you with those different types of things from different angles. So can I ask, what was your biggest blunder with AI?
Biggest blunder with AI. That's a great question. I can tell you the biggest blunder. It's the AI dependency dilemma. So I was on a flight I was speaking at a conference in London a while. This was back in December last year. And I can remember getting onto that flight and having a plan to do all of my blog content for the next 12 months. I was going to do it on this entire 7-hour flight to London. So got all ready, had the plan in my head. I sit down and there's no Wi-Fi. No Wi-Fi on the 7-hour flight. What am I going to do? Oh my God, I have to use my brain. And I realized I was sitting there. I was trying to conjure up ideas for these blogs and do all this research in my head, but I just sat there staring at this blank screen for, it must have been about 45 minutes. And I was just like, wow, I have lost my creativity. This is crazy. But this is what's happening with AI, is if you become too dependent on it and have it do everything for you without using creativity or your brain, you're going to start losing that aspect of creativity. If you don't use it, you lose it, right? So this is one of the big blunders, is becoming too dependent on it. There are certain things, and I'll even make an effort to be creative. I still have my notepad here. You know what I mean? Like, I use Otter AI for meetings, but I still bring my notepad to meetings too. There's certain things that I still want to keep that human element relevant. So I don't lose certain things, like coming up with new ad ideas and things like that. So I think that's the danger with AI, is becoming too dependent on it. As a teacher at the college, as a professor at the college at George Brown, I see students do this all the time. They're just using AI verbatim content, putting it out there, and they're not retaining anything from it. And it's a big problem. And I think the important thing is you have to retain some of this information from AI to be able to, again, like the situation I shared earlier about the employee. You're not bringing any human element to it. Thus, you're just like becoming an AI yourself, right?
Oh, that is so fascinating. And I completely agree with you. I mean, when ChatGPT first came out, I started using it for everything. And then there was a time when we lost internet in our house, which, is kind of crazy just to even think about. And I needed to be able to create some content, and my brain just went completely dead. And so it was really fascinating to see, how much dependence we do have on AI. But one of the things that I really want to pull out of what you said is, for our audience listening, think about what kind of human element are you adding to AI? Not what AI is adding to you, but what you're adding to AI. Because if not, then you're doing it wrong, right? Like, if you're not asking ChatGPT to dig in deeper with you, or, for you to customize whatever it is that you're working on, or maybe add in a personal story, you can still use ChatGPT or whatever AI to be able to do that. But you have to bring in the human element, because if not, then we might as well have robots take over the world, right?
100%. And there are ways. This is huge, because this is how I'll tell you how I'm doing it. Okay, because I think this is probably the most important takeaway could be from this conversation, is the importance of the need for people to personalize their own AI. Like, if you're out there and you've had AI write you an email, probably going to have a lot of M dashes, unlocks, elevates, delves, tapestries, all these overused ChatGPT words. And we've done research studies. We were published in the Journal of Brand Strategy for a research study we did comparing human copy versus AI copy and which one performs better in terms of better click-through rates and lower cost per lead with meta ads. And human copy won 9 of the 12 tests. So having that human nuance in copywriting is super important to get people to convert on content, because when we see, at least for me, when I see an M dash and I know it's AI content, I'm scrolling past that content. I ain't reading it, because I want to read something that a human wrote. If I want to read AI gibberish, I'll just ask ChatGPT or Claude. So this is why the human element in that whole process is very important. So how do you personalize it? Well, I like using Claude personally because it has a huge knowledge base. So every single podcast I'm on, every single transcription from sales calls I'm on, my personality test, those 30 questions I talked about earlier that I answered, I baked them all into the AI. So the AI knows my personality. It knows the way I talk. It knows the idioms I use. It knows my speaking patterns. It knows all of that stuff. So when I tell AI, rewrite me this email, it's going to sound exactly like me. So, and this is a differentiator when it comes to using AI productively, as opposed to just using it to just churn out content at scale, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And that's how we handle it too. I mean, we have an AI agent that helps to create, and of course, a team member as well that helps to create social media content. And it is always trained on the client. But we'll have to check out your 30 questions. So I hope that you've given me that link, or if not, I'll make sure I get that. And we'll put that in the comments or the show notes for sure.
I will send it to you. But I really hit on the M dash there, almost like death to the M dash. But I had a big debate in my office yesterday about the M dash, and the copywriter's like, wait a second, I use M dashes all the time. I'm like, yeah, but you're a small percentage of the population using M dashes. Unfortunately, AI screwed that up for you, because now M dashes are used everywhere now, and it's just overused. And it's just one of those things that I think the mass population is becoming a little more savvy to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. It annoys me. And the word delve. Who uses the word delve? It drives me nuts.
I got one test for you. I got a test for you. Check this one out. I want you to look after this podcast episode. For those listening, I want you to go to your inbox and I want you to search for the word unlock over the last 6-month period. I did this test. The word unlock was in my inbox 489 times in the last 6 months. Now, go back to 2021 and check that same 6-month period. Mine, 23 times the word unlock was used. So it goes to show you the amount of AI gibberish being put out there into emails, right? And it goes to show you, like, there are those overused words and people are becoming very savvy to it, and they're being able to sense that AI, and if you want to be authentic and be genuine, personalize your AI at the very least, or write it yourself.
Yep, exactly. Use your brain. So let's fast forward 6 to 12 months. What's the next level for merged media? What do you want to unlock? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. Now you're going to think twice before using the word unlock. Yeah, really good depth to the word unlock. But in the next 6 to 12 months, it's really tough to predict, because the amount of changes that have happened in the previous 6 to 12 months have been so substantial. And, and this is the thing too, is that because you're having these new tools and new opportunities come at you at scale, because you freed up some more time, maybe you have to be very selective with where you devote your actual attention. So being intentional about that, we want to spend more time going to events. We want to spend more time shaking hands with people, going out with clients for dinner. Those are type of things we really want to start leaning into a lot more. So for us, we've joined a lot more community networks, chamber events, boards of trade. We have done those things as our agency locally to build those relationships with people. But we're going to be very obviously selective with the tools that we choose to use as well, right? And not just like taking on everything because it's opportunistic. We got to be very selective with where we're dedicating our time. And I think that's one of the big things we're going to be leaning into in the next 6 to 12 months.
Such a good reminder of that human connection, right? So then you've built a lot of things within your company for your clients and probably for yourself. If we could build out any AI agent that would take on any task for you, what would you want it to be?
Ooh, a little wish list, eh? A little wish list, an AI agent. How about, can I throw it back to you for a second, Elise?
Sure. Yeah.
And I want can you tell me the AI agent that you're most proud of, that you've created for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. I love this. I would say my favorite AI agent is actually, so I'm Christian, and what I love to do is have my daily daddy daughter time, right? I think of God as my father. And I personally, even though I've created lots of different, and my team has created lots of different AI agents, it was a simple GPT that helped me to connect with God every single day and work through limiting beliefs. And so I trained it on the framework that I've taught as a Christian business strategist for years and years, and then I've used myself, and it helps me to really identify where I'm kind of being negative and where I'd like to empower my thoughts, and then it brings scriptures in to help solidify those. So honestly, I've done a lot of different types of full build AI agents, but that one is my favorite because I use it every single day.
That is cool. That is cool. That is a good one. And it's almost like it's always there and could hold you accountable as well if you wanted to. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
That's the key
for
part. Yeah.
sure.
You know,
Yeah.
that's a really good one. That's going to be tough to top. But you know, for me, I mean, there's a couple things. I mean, one, an AI agent that can, you know, really live in my inbox. I've got 1,500 unread messages sitting there right now, and
Ooh.
that's daunting. And because I'm in the routine of going through just looking for content that's relevant to me. I'm subscribed to a lot of newsletters, but a lot of it is junk, and I'm spending so much time just trying to sift through what's good and what's garbage. I would love to have, you know, an AI agent that could just sift through my email. And I know there are some opportunities to do this now with the likes of Claude to embed themselves in your email, in your Gmail, but having that AI agent just managing the inbox, I think that's a big one.
Yep. And we've actually helped several people with that. So I'm excited to talk more about that with you. But we're out of time here today. So thank you so much for just bringing your incredible personality and just the heart of what you do to this show today and your expertise with AI. This has been a super fun conversation. So obviously, if people want to know more about your company, they can go to merge.ca. But how else can they connect with you? What would you prefer?
Yeah. So after this, what I'll do is I can send you over a link, at least, to the AI brand interview with those 30 questions that people can bake into their AI to have their AI sound more like them. It's at jayhunt.social/AI-interview. So if you go to jayhunt.social, you'll see my resources section and you'll get a bunch of freebies there.
Awesome. That sounds good. We'll make sure we have that in the show notes for you guys to check out as well. So thank you so much for being on the show. Really, really appreciate it. This was a super fun conversation, and I hope it has helped you guys to think about how you're adding that human element to your AI and what's next for you when it comes to AI and your company. So thank you once again for tuning in to Mastering AI Momentum. Keep creating, keep innovating, and keep building your momentum as AI as your advantage. Thanks again, Jason. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, Elise.
You've been listening to Mastering AI Momentum. If today's episode gave you clarity or sparked a breakthrough, share it, review it, leave us a comment, and show Ali and Elise how you're turning AI into ROI. And make sure you subscribe, because the next episode could be the strategy that unlocks your next level. Until then, build smart, scale fast, and let AI multiply your momentum.